Hello, everyone. I'm glad you guys made it this far. We're getting close to the end of the semester here. I've graded all your final papers that were submitted. I'm glad you got them in, but I'm a little disappointed in the content. So this video is to go over some of the issues I saw and help prepare you for your op-ed. I was really lenient actually on the final papers, and I will not be lenient on the op-eds. So please do follow along in this video. It's going to be sort of technical, but it's important. First thing I want to show you is how you can review my comments on your papers. Several of you, most of you, did not correct your papers according to my comments. You should have comments for your annotated bib, your resource 1, and your resource 2 and 3. And these two assignments are the ones you really need to review. All you have to do is click on this button, view scores, and you'll see your score plus my comments. Some of you, I actually said, put the sentence, change this to this, and you still didn't change it. It may have been something like a singular, a plural that needed to be changed to a singular. And I really shouldn't be having to do that, because a resource like Grammarly or Word should be doing that for you. So there will be a severe deduction if you guys don't make these corrections, especially if I've already noted it once or twice in your former papers. The other problem is that you guys aren't following the prompts. Right here in the resource 1, it says, please do not write in my source or in my article. The author states that. Now, most of you are giving the title and the name, but then you're still referring back to it as the article or the source or something like that. Author's last name, right? So-and-so states that. It's pretty simple. The major issue that we had in the papers is that you guys were supposed to be using your King Wallace assignment to as a model, right? And I had this example, and everybody did a great job on this post. For the resource 2 and 3, you were supposed to pick a theme, just like we did in the King Wallace. We used brotherhood, chains, freedom, God, all those things. And you formed a comparison in a conversation. You'll notice that no post in here says, in my resource 1, and then you summarize the resource 1. In my resource 2, and then you summarize the resource 2. And then you give me 2 or 3 sentences of analysis. That's not what we did here. In King's speech, in Wallace's speech, King says this, Wallace says this. Here's why they view freedom different. King views it as something for everyone. You know, give examples, this and that. It's a conversation. You're using context. You're using quotes. You're providing analysis. That's what you should have done on your blog resource 2 and 3. Here's what I got. And this came, you know, directly from some of your papers. Firstly, I'll be taking a look at an article titled this, summarize the article. Next, I will mention the article this. You know, are you taking a look at it? No, you're reviewing it. Are you mentioning it? No. And then this is the even worse version. For the resource 1 review, And this is for the paper. This is in your guys' papers. So this, your research papers weren't supposed to be a review. And I told you you could use the resource 2 and 3 as sort of the body of your paper, but you had to change it. And instead of it being review, it was you talking. It was your opinion or your analysis, and you're using your sources as evidence for your argument. But what you're doing is still summarizing their articles. And you shouldn't even be summarizing. You should be providing analysis like we did in the King Wallace, okay? So, so this is a worse example. Is in the research paper, I had someone say, for the resource 1 review, it will be an article of this, and for the resource 2, and that wasn't even appropriate for that assignment. You should not be referring to anything in your article by the assignment title. It's just, you're not even writing a paper. If you're gonna refer to a resource, refer to the title of the resource and the author, and use it as evidence for your argument, okay? Go back and look at these if you have to. This is what the guts of your paper should have looked like. It should have been your topic under a theme that 2 of your sources talked about, you know? And so some of you went really wrong because you really had no theme at all. Your sources were talking about different things. So because you didn't follow the prompt, you didn't follow the model, you didn't, and then you didn't read my comments on your resource 2 and 3, and then you went into the research paper and you didn't even write a research paper, you just wrote a review. So do not go into your op-ed and say, in my resource 1 and in my resource 2. Do not refer to articles unless they're supporting your point. You really shouldn't have citations in an op-ed. It's an opinion piece. It's your opinion. When you read the prompt, it will tell you that one of the most important things about the op-ed is that this is your article and you should have some kind of insider perspective that you're speaking from that makes you authority on this source. Is it an experience you had? You know, is it because you're a coach, you're an athlete talking about this issue? You have experience in some way, shape, or form. Bring that out. That's going to be important. Make it your argument. Then use your resources as evidence. Here's a couple more things I just have to go over. We are having some serious issues with your guys' writing, with repetition, and simply you're still doing that annotated bib where you said, here's my source, here's what it's about, here's why it's credible. That's an annotated bib. That's a note. You're writing notes. This is a paper. It needs to be constructed. So this is what I got for one. And this is word for word, some students, but I put fake names and changed the topic. And so it sounds silly, but it's still your guys' words. So just follow along here. I'll try to go through these quickly. But if you are writing, you turn in an op-ed like this, there will be a severe deduction. Michelle Edner uses credible sources to back up what she says. This is an unnecessary sentence. First of all, if you're using a source, we should know they're credible. Michelle Edner of the New York Times states blank. Michelle Edner of the University, an associate professor of the University of Hawaii, states that. That's how we know they're credible. You're telling us she uses credible sources and you don't tell us what they are. You tell us it's to back up what she says. You don't tell us what she says. So if you said Michelle Edner draws from Tom Sutler and Mark Bezos to back up her argument on the effects of social media in children under 12, that's a good opening statement. Now let's look after this vague sentence, we get more vague. For example, she brings up a specific act. What act? You have to state the blank blank act that surrounds personal information being protected. This is not active tense. It should be stated directly. Acts that surround personal information that is protected on platforms. This is not, there's no flow in this. There's something missing. You have to edit your guys' work. By mentioning this, you don't need to say by mentioning this, get rid of this. Being protected on platforms is at risk when individuals lie about their age, which brings more awareness to many parents. Get rid of this whole part. So this is the kind of editing you have to do. But really all you need to say, this is you. This should be your statement. What do you think about the subject? You make a statement. What is your thesis statement? And then you back it up with Edner. Michelle Edner states that blank, right? This is not good either though. Edner states that research shows. What research? You know, it takes 12 children about 12 years to fully develop. Okay, you could use that. But we want to see what the research is. That's the point of using credible research. You should be referring directly to the research. Here's another one. This is an opening sentence and it was not effective. I heard the new surf foiling technique starting to get more and more popular. Surf foiling should be banned due to the impacts it makes on the environment. That does not make me want to read your article. It's not an interesting opening. It's not, has no flow. It's redundant. You should not have surf foiling in one sentence in the next sentence. That means you need to connect the two sentences. So here's the sentence I made. Very simple, very easy. Says exactly the same thing. The new popular surf foiling technique should be banned due to its impacts on the environment. That's a good opening sentence. For your op-ed though, it should be a question. It should be a narrative. It should be a story. It should be something interesting. You're trying to hook your reader. Here again, we have another example. Author Ruth Desser, a journalist, writer, and is an author at Foil DJ. Desser writes about the controversial talks about surf foiling in Hawaii. She first talks about the law that is proposed that will, do you see how hard that is to read? I cannot even figure out what this person is talking about because it's so redundant. Desser writes about, talks about, and talks about. That's not even two sentences. So I rephrased it here. Ruth Desser of Foil DJ. So we just got rid of all of that. It's gone. Proposes that. So we just got rid of all of this. Okay. That should be you, whatever you have to say about it. You're only using Desser to back your argument up. But if you were to leave this, you still wouldn't have. Desser writes about the controversial talks about surf foiling. She first talks. First of all, if you're not looking at a video, she's not talking. She's writing. She's advocating. She's discussing. She's proposing. Right? Use specific word choice. If you have talks twice, it should be one sentence. All right, here's another example. Through my research and observation on dog walkers, I have researched and found reasonable reasons to restrict dog walking in the United States. According to my research results and analysis on the United States legal dog walkers, I have discovered that it has many reasons to be restricted for all states around the country. This tells us almost nothing. You've used 3 sentences here. All 3 sentences say the same thing, and they don't say much. Okay. Here, through my research, I have researched and find reasonable reasons. Reasonable reasons? Research. According to my research, you're just not telling us anything. I've discovered its reason. What are the reasons? What are the restrictions? What is your research? What is reasonable? You have to be specific. So this is funny. I'm making fun, but this is how you would open your op-ed or your paper. Have you ever stepped in poo on your way to work? According to the article, I'm sick of smelling like poo by Del Dog, 99% of people who work show up with manure on their shoes every morning. Therefore, I argue that dog walkers should be restricted to specific areas in the urban terrain, which would limit poo shoe. Okay, at least I'm telling you something. This tells us nothing except that you found reasons to restrict dog walking in the United States. We don't know what it is about dog walking. We know nothing about why you find your research valid. Come on, work at it, okay? One last one here. Rick Kane strongly starts the article by expressing his opinion on the topic of restricting dog walkers. In the United States, okay, we don't need any of this. This is all saying the same thing. He strongly states the article by strongly starts. Do we need to know that he strongly starts the article by expressing his opinion? Obviously, he's expressing his opinion on the article. This is already given in the context. Don't need it. Please go through your paper and get rid of this redundancy. You are taking a 1,500 word research paper and turning it into an op-ed. It's only 650 words. If it's a whole bunch of this, you're not going to say anything. Please don't do this. Firstly, I'll be looking at this article. Next, I'll be looking at, don't do that. I have lived by the ocean my entire life and have researched a few different marine animals. Have lived, have researched. You want to stay in active tense. Be direct, open with a bang. This is not an exciting opening. Create a story, tell your experience. Okay. If anybody has any questions, please reach out to me. Let me just show one more thing. We'll go. All right, so here's what's coming up. Op-ed is due Tuesday night, 11:55 p.m. Your aesthetic presentation is due Thursday night, 11:55 p.m. This is 6 points. The only way you can go wrong is either 1, not doing it, 2, doing a PowerPoint. So just do it. July 1st is the final day of class. Give feedback to the other assignments, to the other presentations. You only need 2 to 3 sentences, and you can make 5 extra credit points. So that I'm giving that to you. It's half of a grade. Take advantage of it if you need it. That's due that night, though. You only have that one day to do it. July 2nd, the last day to submit any assignments at 11:55 p.m. I can't extend that because I have to submit the grades by Tuesday, and I'm already teaching another class the very next week. So you need 3 things. You have to be turned in to pass this class: the personal website, the research paper, and the op-ed. You also had to accumulate at least enough points on top of that through your daily assignments to, get a passing grade. So if you haven't turned any of those assignments, you need to get them in by July 2nd, and don't leave it to the last minute. Things can go wrong. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to your op-eds. I think you guys are going to kill it on this. If you read my comments, if you follow the prompt, yeah. So I look forward to it. You guys are all doing interesting topics. So just narrow it down. Some of you weren't narrowing the topic. That goes back to that very first assignment we did on the first week, creating a research question. Go to that link and look at that. You need a narrow topic. You can't use something so vague that you just don't say anything. So if you haven't narrowed your topic, figure out a way to narrow it. You don't need citations in the annotated bib, but you need to make a statement. And to do that, you need some experience, and you need to have a narrow enough topic. Okay, well, good luck, you guys, and do reach out to me if you need help. We hope.